The Obama administration is removing illegal immigrants from the country in record numbers, according to Greg Chen at the American Immigration Lawyers Association.
Those numbers under both President Bush and Obama have increased steadily in the past decade and are currently at a real high point.
Action.
It's an unpopular fact that Obama deported like 3 million people at the exact same time when he was trying to pass DACA, the Dreamers Act. He was deporting 3 million people, and everyone is so terrified about Donald Trump. They say, have you seen his cabinet? Have you seen his cabinet? And there's one guy who, like, he's supposed to be the border czar. And in the interview, they asked him, they said, what about breaking up families? What about breaking up families? He looked at them very sternly and said, the whole family will go.
Yeah, you need that. You need that.
They got mad. I said, oh, yeah? You thought you were just going to run across the border, drop her anchor baby, and stay forever, huh? I know that these are real people, and your feelings really do matter. There are millions of people who are waiting in the immigration line, and you just jump the line. And then you get to America and you say, hey, you black people, we got head of the line privileges. You just jump over me too. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Take your ass back to where you came from.
And you know, Stephen A. Smith did a good job of even breaking this down. He's probably one of the only black men that has done this, but he spoke of this when it comes to why did we see so many Latinos voting for Trump, even though he's saying he has this, you know, pretty stout immigration policy. Is because of what you just said. It's like, imagine somebody who has waited 20 years, 15 years to become a citizen. They've been here. They've done all the documentation they needed to do.
Hey, forget that immigrant.
Somebody came
How
in.
about black men who've been waiting for 200 years and we ain't got no house? If black Americans ain't got no homes, how the hell does anyone else get a home before I get a home? Y'all better take your ass home and leave me alone, man. We got to be for real. We got to be serious.
You know, I be trying not to even think of stuff like that because it becomes a Debbie Downer conversation. But Democratic Party.
How they Debbie Downers?
I'm saying, you know why it makes me feel down?
Why?
Because why was y'all talking about giving all them undocumented workers houses and black people out here struggling the way we struggling?
Why was you talking about giving undocumented people trans surgeries? Why would you even say that?
Why is trans surgeries even in the military?
Why would that come out of your mouth? My friend, he just retired. He was telling me that, they can come in and be like, I'm something else. Then they got to appease them. Why is this a federal regulation? Why is this a mandate? Why is this happening? And no one has any answers. The Democratic Party, they just sit there and be like, because trans women are women, because trans women are women. It's like Woody, they pull the voice box on the back. You say, trans women are women, trans women are women. Like parrots, they just say the thing.
They out here crying, where is it a red wave? Because we don't want to live in a sci-fi movie anymore.
and so, like when we talk about what men do to protect like their ideas, Elon Musk spent $44 billion to buy an asset that was evaluated $2 billion because y'all were deplatforming people for saying a person's actual birth name. So, that's dead naming. That's dead naming. You can call a person whatever they want to call you. Muhammad Ali, his name is Cassius. His mama called him Cassius. I'm going to call the nigga Cassius.
Right.
And that's a man. And so when you just get up and just say, I'm a whole new thing. I was talking to my dad, and I was telling my dad, the government can't make me be no Christian. They can't make me be no Jew. They can't make me be no Muslim. But all of a sudden, you pass all this legislation to promote this ideology that's based on intimacy. And I'm like, why are you doing that for?
Backtracking just to the immigration thing, I want to talk about this. We have a fentanyl increase.
Hold on, wait. You talking about this person, he left from persecution from Guatemala. He done traveled 1,000 miles over treacherous terrain to show up and get his nuts cut off?
Yeah, that's wild. And you know, combining the two, there's so much perversion that is entangled with immigration. Drugs.
Oh my goodness.
Intimacy issues. We have human trafficking. Hey, I do some driving for Uber, and I can't tell you how many times I've dropped off little Asian women to these massage parlors after picking them up 45 minutes away from some, middle-aged looking white dude. So you got a bunch of that going on.
If you catch the right bus at the right time, it's going to be a whole bunch of little women wearing cleaning outfits. They don't speak no English, headed to the most prestigious parts of Houston. The rich people are getting all this cheap labor because they don't... they think that American women steal. They understand that the American woman's ethos, you're not good nannies. I don't want you around my kids. Like, you gonna sit around and watch TikTok. No, 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 no. I'm finna get this Guatemalan person. I'm finna pay her $3.15 and she gonna stay in my closet.
And listen, that's an issue. Like, you know what's funny? We all I don't want to say we. I don't even want to include myself with anybody who's been so heavily liberal minded. But the truth is, all of the feeling around liberal politics has been so emotional. Oh, why we're going to separate families, but we don't even think about how this undercuts the American population. Yes, immigrants are taking jobs that matter. Immigrants, hey, how you working? How you working over in this McDonald's and you speak no English?
And the thing I'm saying, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I knew women who they were undocumented people and they were living as nannies and being subservient to this family. They ain't got no green card. They can't argue. They can't protest. They ain't got nowhere to live. They ain't got no check. They ain't got no W-2s.
What is that a form of?
Slavery. You got this white person sitting there, and she's just like, I'm doing Maria a good deed because where she's from. No. You saving tens of thousands of dollars by not paying no taxes on this labor that you have here for hire. Talking about you helping somebody else. No, Maria, she doesn't work for me. She lives with me.
And it's a war on the free market enterprise, which I think is what a lot of liberals, when you start talking about Marxism, communism, socialism, this is kind of a way to infiltrate that because, hey, guess what? I should be able to go out here and create a maid service with documented workers and get them fair wages. Like, we have to think about what's fair.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
You say fair. I have to create. There's a fallacy in America. Most businesses don't do well. Most businesses fail. This is just in general in America. And so, like, you see a shop that's open, and you're like, man, they're doing business. Man, they ain't made no money. They probably spent money. They probably took out loans to cover the costs, and then they shut down. They ain't never made no money, and they're in debt. This is millions of businesses in America. And so you have this idea of what business looks like. These are just people investing in themselves and working really hard and hoping, crossing their fingers that one day they go from red to black.
That's very true. So yeah, of course, when we talk about the discussion of what's fair, it's obviously how lucrative a business is. But I'm also thinking this: you can't pay Maria $4 an hour because it's cheaper for her to come clean your entire house and probably, beat off the old man that's over the property too. Like, you just can't do that. Like,
You say they can't, but they do.
But they are doing this. And so, like, we never think about this when we have this discussion of the immigration issue. Again, fentanyl. How many people have we seen? Now you've got this thing, pink cocaine, that's even in the city right now. Like, people are dying from this stuff, man. This is an issue. You need somebody to come drop the hammer down on national security. That's just what it is. I'm sorry. Like, I'm totally for that. And yes,
As much as I voted for Donald Trump, I acknowledge the fact that I voted for Donald Trump. While simultaneously, I do not put my hope and faith in no political candidate. I don't think no president's finna save America. And hell yeah, he's packing the court. Everyone's so terrified. He's packing the court. Do you think that 9 people should have so much control over your life? Do you think one person should have so much control of your life? Maybe if you got off of TikTok and stopped scrolling, you might have some type of political ideology on how you want America to look.
Facts.
How do you want your representatives to behave? Like, we can have those conversations. These ain't no taboo. The Green Party, Jill Stein and these individuals, they show up every 4 years and they say some radical ideas. And when they say these radical ideas, it gets platformed. And then the Democratic Party has to incorporate these ideas or else they lose votes to the Republican Party. This is how goddamn politics works. We're negotiating resources on a large scale. And so if we don't start telling a better story, Donald Trump is my president. Oh, I saw my son for the first time in 3 years, like last week. It was the craziest thing. I am a day laborer, but I'm a digital day laborer. You know how Mexicans stand outside of Home Depot and they be like, hey, Jose, hey, George, come on. So on my phone, I get alerts that say, hey, we got a job. It pays $30. Can you pop up? And if I say yes, then I just get details to where it's at. And then I show up. I might get some text messages or something, right? No one knows who I am. I never met nobody. When you show up, it's just like, hi, let's get to work. Bye. And you receive funds 2 to 4 weeks later. I'm a digital day laborer. And so when I get this mass text, my son's name, because he saved my phone, my son's name is on the mass text. I'm like, what the hell? And I ain't seen this guy in 3 years or so, man. My heart is pounding. I couldn't even go to sleep. I'm like, man, What if he sees me and just leaves immediately? Yeah, because there was some turmoil, there was some friction, there was some shaking the tree. The last time I spoke to him, I said, "Hey man, I'm a man, and you're gonna treat me as such. And if not, we're gonna have to get to punching, bro. We're gonna have to get to punching." And so through this conversation, fast forward 3 years later, and I see him. This boy, he looks so handsome. My son, he's going to the Air Force. He looks so wonderful. He tried to act like hard. He tried to be stiff, like he ain't see his daddy. I said, "Boy, you see your daddy, boy? Come over here, give us." It was all these emotions inside of me just going hard. And so now, when through this experience, when he was 13 years old, his mother told him that he didn't have to come and see me anymore, right? Because he had the ability to stay at home by himself, and daddy is going to have some discipline. I'm proud of him. But when I talk about Donald Trump, he's a man who had 3 wives, 5 children. I think that he can understand what it's like to go through turmoil with the mother of your children. And so if I believe that if we start talking about, hey, Donald Trump, you're not going to get reelected, and you want to have a legacy, your legacy should be abolishing the child support system. Hey, just executive order, bam, undo it, just like that. And then black men look at me. Why would you say that? I feel sorry for your children. They need money. Nah, hell no. Children in America need a daddy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Children in America need some discipline. Hell yeah. Y'all fat, y'all lazy, and this shit looks crazy. And daddy takes off his belt. Papa's got a brand new bag, nigga. James Fox.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that when you can take care of yourself financially, you can take care of the child. Like, why can't I get the same respect as that mother's getting when it comes to me being able to provide in my household for our children? So we definitely have that. We don't, you know what?
Why didn't Kamala say universal welfare? Mothers in that, fuck the primary custodian. The children have to have both parents, and so both parents should be financially secure. How about that?
You know what? That's why we need 10.
Because you're supposed to work, nigga.
We need 10 million strong men to hear the message, come together, and come up with a political agenda for all men, because we need to talk about that. We never talk about what I'm in.
We have to be very specific. Hey,
go ahead.
The agenda for 10 million men is to abolish the child support system.
Right.
We want equality in the family court.
Yes.
Automatically 50%. That's what it is.
Yes.
And there's 10 million men affected by this.
Federally.
That's what it is. So when 10 million men, if you like this message, you share it with somebody, you tell them, hey, Donald Trump has the capability to abolish child support through an executive order. Let's make it happen immediately.
Make this viral. Share this.
I watched these people just speaking into fruition. The Democratic Party, they just said, you should have a black woman vice president. And voila, they created some Jamaican woman, Indian woman pretending to be black. And they said, you can have that.
And I went to Howard and I made sure that I went to class. But anyways.
Collard Green Kamala.
I can also look at Donald Trump and say, hey, or I can also look at some right wingers and say, hey, critical race theory, let's talk about that. Because the one thing I do disagree with is I don't want to start reinventing or redirecting history. Now, I don't want slavery to be the legacy of black people, meaning I think we can talk about that being a part of our legacy, but it's not our ending story. But we're not going to say that it didn't. Well, go ahead.
Deep dive. You got a classroom of 30 children.
Right.
And 30 children with different ethnic backgrounds. You got a mixed white black, you got a mixed white Mexican, you got a mixed black Mexican, you got a black and a black, and you got a white and a Mexican. I'm just saying you got to double down and say how ethnically authentic you are. You double white. You hear me? Like me, right. I'm double straight. You hear me? There was a man, he got banned off of TikTok because he said, I'm super straight. Because they said he said, if me saying I'm straight, then I'm transphobic, then I'm super straight. Man, they banned him off of all platforms for saying he was super straight.
Oh wow!
And so when you're talking about critical race theory,
right?
You're talking in a classroom with 30 different people with 30 different ethnic backgrounds, and my identity is not being represented. So what are we supposed to do here?
Right.
And so when Donald Trump comes and says we're gonna smash the Department of Education because we're spending billions and trillions of dollars on people who can't even read. When you get those numbers, right. When you understand that 50% of Americans are functioning illiterate,
yes.
When you understand that literally in our lifetimes, and me and your lifetime, we're going to live in a post-literate society, meaning more people can't read than can.
Right. No.
That's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so when you have that conversation and you know that this is the constituency, then you have to address this. We have to tell the truth, man, because they need the truth. They need to know this is really happening.
And that's it. And so, like, I'm just talking about from historical terms, historical context. We're not going to change history. We're going to talk about history, but we got to talk about the real progression of America, where we are now. I think that black people have to understand that legislatively speaking, you do have rights. You don't have to be afraid. You can be a part of the political system. So I think that's where some of the right-wing ideas are coming from. It's like, we're not really talking about that. We're saying that we need to push this political agenda based off this in history and context. However, everything you just said about the Department of Education is true.
We got an upside down society. Why in the hell we
that's
pay?
True.
Look, my kids, they go to school and I ain't got no place to live. Why in the hell are you worried about my children's education when I ain't got no house? Tell you what, you give me that money, I'll buy the house and I'll homeschool these little babies, huh?
Right.
Like, I don't want your ideology. I don't want you brainwashing my children with nothing. I just don't. I think I should be an interactive parent. And so when we start having these discussions now, the greatest resource that we have is time. And now I gotta get the boss's foot off of my neck because I work 5/12s and I ain't seeing my babies.
Come on.
Huh?
Come on.
So now we gotta rework. If we don't tell these people what our lives look like, then they don't have no clue.
And let me say this too. We live in a country where you have the opportunity to become an entrepreneur and create time for yourself. And guess what? It's gonna be hard. That's what we're doing here. Because we need more time to be able to spend with our families so we can raise them properly, because we've left them in the hands of somebody that's diabolical just in nature. And that's at home with their moms, listening to crap and getting terrible installs on what life is, depending on who you pick to be the carrier of this child, because we're spending so much time away just taking care of ourselves. And if you're paying child support, if you're not in a house with your children all the time, you probably barely see your children. And guess what? More than your pockets, because that's what women value you at, your pockets, it's your mind. That's what you have.
Talk about your pockets.
Yeah.
How can you take money in order for me to be a present parent? I have to have a place to live and I have to be able to provide them with food, right? And so if I'm contributing to the other household, what about my household? Oh, I don't matter, huh? I'm sleeping in my car. Oh, it ain't no big deal, huh?
The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive.